Oh my god, no.
Nice, Johnny.
Thanks, John. It means a lot.
Okay, so obviously, like we've said for our striker build and our cam build, this is what works for us. We are currently 106-0, and we're going for that 200-0 on stream every single night. So subscribe, like the video, and show your support for the channel. If you do love a bit of pro clubs, you are in the right place, and you won't miss a single stream or upload. Welcome. So this CDM build is what Johnny P uses. We've won Division 1 like 6 times in a row, and although we don't claim to be the best players to ever grace the grass, we don't concede a lot of goals, and obviously we slightly know what we're doing. We just use these builds and it clearly works for us, so I'm trying to help you guys out. Our CDM uses skill moves to mess around, so bear that in mind. Like half the time we don't take clubs that seriously. So let's look at this build. You can play with the traits to put on what actually works for you, but let's have a look at what Johnny P uses.
So, here we go.
Hang on.
This is... What?
What is that name?
Look, John, it's... If the viewers can spot any of my kind of subliminal messages... Alright, so my statistics, they really are not the best, but a lot of my time is spent kind of messing around. I mainly play play a bit of strike as well, but when I do go CDM, we go 106 and over.
You'll never sing that.
Yeah, these here are the stats that matter, like... When we're concentrating, we very rarely concede, and this is all obviously Division 1. And this is obviously just my own preference, what I like to use, what works well. So, I go 5'11" personally. It's something that I think works well because I like being able to body people.
Tough guy.
It gives you a bit more strength in the stat, but I really don't think there's a need to go any taller than 5'11". Thing is, most of the good players you'll come up against will be using really small striker builds. Like, they'll be about 5'6", even 5'4". The only reason I go up to 5'11" in that sense is because in midfield against CPUs, I want to be winning the majority of headers. I could put the weight down, but I've just found that this is the balance that works well for me in terms of that strength and pace. So the single most important thing, without a doubt here, is going to be do not use a CDM build. Use a left back or left wing back build specifically, or a right wing back build. Obviously, it really makes no difference. Difference in pace is ridiculous. With it in mind that I'm playing with a wing back build, I can afford to go a little bit taller, a little bit heavier. We'll go into the traits, and I'll say straight away, this is just my preference. There are some bits of this, obviously, for me. So straight away, I'd say I have 5-star skill moves on. For a lot of you guys, as is with the case with a lot of these builds, like it won't matter. If you don't feel like you need to use 5-star skill moves, then you can afford to up the traits on other aspects. I like to have a lot of stamina, and really, really important to use the second wind trait. I'm coming up against attackers that will use second wind, and I don't want to just suddenly have no chance about 75 minutes into the game. Strength, I get up to 79 overall, which isn't the highest stat, but you've got to remember that's relative to pro club stats. So
I think strength
that is going to be higher.
I think strength this FIFA is one of the most broken stats. Like, I play with people like Harry who play 5'4", and yeah, we get bodied sometimes, but really not that often.
I'd probably definitely recommend for you guys that you have all of these in. The reason for this is that kind of on stream at the end of games, if we're 4-0 up, I like the idea that we can mess around with 5-star skill moves at the end. Sometimes as well, I like to be able to allow to go in defense. But apart from that, really, yeah, I know this will raise eyebrows. I don't have all of these. So realistically, by losing the skill moves, you could gain a lot of skill points, and you could instantly really up these defending stats, get that tackling stat up. In stand tackle and slide tackle, with that being said, I would say with tackling, a bit like strength this FIFA, I personally feel like I can get away with it. I feel like if I've got 82 stand tackle, I'm not going to be missing out on tackles I'd make with 84 stand tackle. Alright, so with passing, straight away, you can see personally, I don't use any points on passing. That's because the majority of the passes I play are going to be winning the ball and playing a very, very simple X to my cam or to one of the defenders controlled by the any. There's not really a need for me to play a pass, which is going to have an amount of risk where, yeah, I'm going to want to have high passing. As I would say, this is just for me, this is what's been working, and we've gone 106-0 with it. So if you guys want to up the passing, then as I say, like, you can take things off the skill moves particularly, and you can up that. This is just what works for me. Shooting, the heading accuracy, one finishing, and the reason for that is to get the weak foot up to 3-star.
I don't think I've seen you shoot. I don't think I've seen you shoot when we play serious. He'll have a shot at the end of the game, but There's no need for your CDM to be shooting when you've got a cam and 2 strikers on the pitch.
So with that in mind, pretty much heading accuracy, I guess, sometimes on winning headers, that might help a bit. But this is purely to get the weak foot up. So I feel like with 3-star weak foot, it's mainly for passing as opposed to like shooting left-footed rockets into the top corner. So I don't really feel like I need higher than 3-star, and it works well. Pace. I do have all of them in pace. It gets me up to 87 acceleration with 86 sprint speed. This is all relative. Compared to the CDM build, this is massively higher. I get about 15 more pace overall. But of course, I guess some people might say, oh, this is still, you're going to be coming up against like 95 acceleration, 95 sprint speed. Isn't that a bit worrying? What I think I'd say is that most of the work is already done with positioning myself. If I'm needing 95 sprint speed in order to play against attackers, then to be honest, I think I'm doing something wrong.
Yeah, so let's get into looking at some clips. We both recommend, if you're super serious, put your points into defending and not skill moves. That's just something that we like to mess around with. Obviously, you can change that if you want to. So throughout the clips on screen, you're going to be seeing a mixture of Johnny P highlighted in orange in CDM. Just breaking up play, being calm on the ball, and whilst he's doing that, I'm going to give you some tips of what he does and how he does it. The main job of a CDM is to stop the other team from scoring, and there's a lot of little ways you can do this. You want to be making your Ennie's job as easy as possible. You want to be stopping the attackers playing quick 1-2s, and you want to follow their runs in behind to try and compensate for when the CPUs can't. When we're in Division 1, our CPU centre-backs actually have like 94 acceleration, so Johnny P's Pro is a lot slower than them. But when you are climbing the divisions, you are going to be a lot faster than most of your CPUs, so you want to be covering balls in behind. Obviously, you always want to be using the radar and try to communicate with your Ennie. It's so important to use that radar to watch runs and talk to your Ennie, probably more than any other 2 positions on the pitch, especially in the way we set up. So you see that clip there, Johnny P intercepts the ball right on the edge of the area, and every time teams are attacking, that's kind of where you want to be. Again, there, he's between the 2 strikers and stops the threat. There, you're just seeing clips where he's allowing the CPU to rush out and he covers that centre-back position, and then ball retention, massively important. Something you will notice from a lot of these clips, we do play a lot of short passes from DM and a lot of simple passes into the centre mids with him or the cam or the striker. Nothing too audacious, and that's why Johnny P doesn't really have many points or any points in his passing, because you don't really need to do anything other than click X to the guy who's right next to you half the time. Again, just breaking up the passing lanes, it's really easy to do. Sometimes we'll match up against like 2 players on the opposition, which I always think is a bit unfair. But when we do that, he'll just sit on their striker who's free and running free, and it basically makes it impossible for them to play. There, a good clip. You see that the CPU has been brought out in centre-back, and Johnny P fills in that gap nicely in centre-back. Really simple passing out from the back, and these clips just highlight how easy CDM can be if you play it well and if you follow the runs. Something you will notice about these clips is Johnny P's positioning is basically everything. That's why the stats aren't all that important. Let the Ennie do the work, let the Ennie press, let the Ennie win the ball back, and you're there to cover and recycle possession when you can. That's a lovely ball down the line to me through that channel. So in Striker, I use tele-broadcast. I'm pretty sure all 3 of my teammates use the co-op. You get a wider view of the pitch. I just prefer using this tele-broadcast, but if you are in CDM, I would say it's essential to use the co-op camera. You get a much bigger view of the pitch. You can see where their players are making runs, and that was a beautiful cutout from Johnny P a couple of clips ago. And here, you can just see, given that pivot option, we can go back to him whenever, and it's nice and easy ball retention from the DM. It's exactly what you want. So here you can see a player gets beaten. Where's Johnny P? He doesn't get on the end of either of these, but he just allows Billy to have an easy option when he does win the ball and play a pass into his feet, and then we go again. We recycle possession. Again, he's coming deep, giving that ball into Johnny P, and he can spread it to the simple option. You won't see Johnny P attempt a difficult pass. You won't see him shoot unless like we are 3-4-0 up. And really, he makes it look simple. Now, guys, sometimes you are going to concede. It is FIFA. You can't prevent it. Let's have a look at a clip from last night's stream to show you what I mean.
And now we concede?
No.
We don't concede, Johnny.
Okay, we concede.
Oh my god. Keeps. Oh my god.
Oh my god.
I've just said we don't concede. I played it back to the keeper. And I don't know who's
So guys, sometimes you really can't prevent it, but just do your best to follow these simple tips and hopefully it works out for you. Thank you guys for watching. Johnny P's Twitter is linked in the description. You can go and follow him if you would want to do so. Drop a like on this video, subscribe if you haven't already, check out all of our other player builds, and I hope you guys have a fantastic day. We will see you tonight at 10 PM for our live stream. Can we go 200-0?